Have you ever been in the middle of a completely normal day, sitting at your desk, driving your car, maybe just lying on your couch, and suddenly your heart starts pounding for no reason? Your chest tightens, your breathing goes shallow, your hands start to shake, and your brain sends one terrifying signal. Something is very wrong. But nothing is wrong. Nothing happened. And that is exactly what makes anxiety and panic attacks so uniquely cruel. They ambush you without warning and convince you that you are in danger when you are perfectly fine. If that has ever happened to you, this video is your space. You're not broken, you're not weak, and you're absolutely not alone. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you are about to learn could genuinely change the way your body and mind respond to anxiety forever. There was a man named James, 32 years old, successful, the kind of person everyone around him would describe as having it all together. One afternoon, he was grocery shopping, completely ordinary, when it hit him out of nowhere. His heart rate exploded, the room started spinning, and he couldn't catch his breath. He was absolutely convinced he was having a heart attack. He left his cart in the aisle, drove himself to the emergency room, and sat in that waiting room shaking for 2 hours. Every test came back perfect. The diagnosis was a panic attack. James told me later, the scariest part wasn't the physical feeling. It was not knowing what it was, because when you don't know, your mind fills in the worst possible answer. And that is the story of anxiety for so many people. Not a physical emergency. A mind that has learned to misread safety as danger. The body goes into full crisis mode over something that poses absolutely no real threat. And the person living inside that body has no idea why. So what exactly is anxiety? At its core, anxiety is your body's built-in alarm system. And it is actually trying to protect you. When your brain perceives a threat, it triggers the fight or flight response. Adrenaline floods your system, your heart rate increases, your breathing quickens, your senses sharpen. This kept our ancestors alive when they faced real physical danger. The problem is that your brain cannot always tell the difference between a lion chasing you and a stressful email from your boss. It fires the same alarm for both. And in people who struggle with anxiety, this alarm system becomes hypersensitive. Going off in situations where there is no real danger at all, the alarm is not broken, it is just miscalibrated. A panic attack is what happens when this alarm fires at full intensity with no warning. Your heart races, your chest hurts, you feel dizzy, your hands tingle, and your brain screams that something catastrophic is happening. The terrifying irony is that the fear of the panic attack itself makes everything worse. You feel your heart rate rise, you think, oh no, it's happening again, and that thought spikes your adrenaline even higher. It is a feedback loop, anxiety about anxiety, and from the inside, it feels completely impossible to escape. But here's the truth. It is not impossible. It just requires understanding what is actually happening and responding to it differently than your instincts tell you to. Now, why are some people more prone to this than others? Genetics plays a role. Anxiety disorders do run in families. But biology is not destiny. Chronic stress, childhood trauma, prolonged uncertainty, and major life transitions can all gradually turn up the sensitivity of your internal alarm system until it starts misfiring regularly. One of the most significant but overlooked factors is avoidance. Every time you avoid something that makes you anxious, you send your brain a message, this thing is dangerous, and your brain gets more afraid of it, not less. Avoidance feels like relief in the short term, but it quietly makes anxiety stronger over time. Now let's get into what actually works. The first technique is diaphragmatic breathing. When anxiety hits, your breathing becomes fast and shallow, which actually increases the physical symptoms. Slow, deep belly breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's built-in calm-down response. Try the 4-7-8 method. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Do this 4 times and feel your body begin to shift. The second technique is cognitive reframing, the cornerstone of cognitive behavioral therapy for anxiety. When anxiety strikes, your thoughts go catastrophic instantly. Cognitive reframing teaches you to examine those thoughts like a scientist. Ask yourself, what is the actual evidence for this thought? What would I tell a close friend who is thinking this? What is a more realistic way to see the situation? Over time, this practice genuinely rewires your anxious thinking patterns. The third technique is grounding, the 5-4-3-2-1 method. Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. This interrupts the anxiety loop by forcing your brain back into the present moment. It is nearly impossible to be fully present in your senses and fully lost in anxious thought at the same time. The fourth technique feels completely wrong when you first hear it, leaning into the panic rather than fighting it. This is called interoceptive exposure. When you fight a panic attack, you reinforce your brain's belief that the sensations are dangerous. But when you consciously observe them without resistance, my heart is racing. I notice that. I will let it happen. You break the fear of fear cycle. You teach your brain that these sensations, while deeply uncomfortable, are not actually going to hurt you. The fifth technique is progressive muscle relaxation. Anxiety lives in your body as much as your mind. It causes chronic muscle tension you may not even notice anymore. PMR involves systematically tensing and releasing each major muscle group from your feet to your face. When you release that physical tension deliberately, your nervous system receives a clear signal that it is safe to relax. Regular practice significantly reduces your baseline anxiety over time. The sixth technique is lifestyle architecture, because anxiety is fed or starved by your daily habits. Even 1 or 2 nights of poor sleep makes your amygdala significantly more reactive. Caffeine is a direct anxiety amplifier that most people dramatically underestimate. Regular physical exercise reduces anxiety as effectively as medication in mild to moderate cases. And genuine human connection, even brief, authentic interactions, actively calms your nervous system in ways nothing else can replicate. The seventh technique is acceptance. Not giving up, but the kind of acceptance taught in acceptance and commitment therapy. Trying to eliminate anxiety completely is itself an anxiety-producing goal. What ACT teaches is this: you do not need to get rid of anxiety to live a full and meaningful life. You can feel anxious and still take the action that matters to you. The goal shifts from no more anxiety to anxiety no longer controls what I do. That shift alone changes everything. Here's what I want you to carry with you from today. Anxiety is not a character flaw. It is not a sign that you are weak or beyond help. It is a misfiring alarm system in a brain that is genuinely trying to keep you safe, just doing it very badly. And just like any system that is miscalibrated, it can be recalibrated. These techniques are not quick fixes. They are practices that require repetition and patience. James spent 8 months consistently applying these tools. Today, he says panic attacks are something that occasionally visits him, not something that runs his life. And that same shift is available to you, not someday, but starting from the very next time anxiety shows up at your door. If this video resonated with you, please give it a like and share it with someone who is quietly struggling, because anxiety is one of the most isolating experiences a person can go through, and sometimes just knowing someone else understands makes all the difference. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because every week we cover real mental health topics grounded in psychology and delivered with honesty. You showed up for yourself today by watching this. Keep showing up. I will see you in the next one. And until then, breathe and be gentle with yourself.